Welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. I'm Dr. Mariane Pinkston, and bringing you Ray Solano from up in Cedar Park, Texas, from PD Labs, my favorite and wonderful compounding pharmacy and pharmacist that makes my life so wonderful. Good morning, Ray. How are you?
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. You're off and running. It's a Monday, so glad to have you in. I know today we're going to talk a little bit about weight loss and the weight loss injections and some of the myths and misunderstandings, because this has been an explosion all over the United States, not just with us. And, I have a weight loss program and I'm doing the weight loss injections or prescribing the weight loss injections, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. So tell us all about it. And how are you, first of all? You doing all right?
I'm doing fine. This is how many days of 110 degrees.
No.
But maybe that's the new weight loss. Just sit outside and just melt away. What do you think?
A Texas sauna for weight loss. I get it. It really is. It is bad. This has been detrimental. So I don't know, my friend, but hopefully there's a fall coming. Football's in the air, so we're ready to get fall in here and cool off a little bit.
Well, we'll jump right to it. Here we are. You've been doing weight loss therapies for many, many years, and we have as well. And we've seen things come and go. And it's important that what we see all the time is we forget that the body has an ability to fix itself. And it's really important to use this harmony within the body's systems to take over. Unfortunately, we get a false sense of security that drugs can just fix everything that is wrong with our body. And after a while, when you remove the drugs, you go back to the same problem you got to there in the first place. So as we've been looking through these new classifications of drugs, which are by far probably the most promising for people with obesity disease than we've ever seen before. But it's really important to be able to manage them with practitioners like yourselves to be able to understand how to make sustained weight loss or sustained health for a long period of time. And we put together some neat foundational principles that I'd like to share with you today.
Oh, please. Well, you bring it on, because, everybody is into, especially in South Texas, the obesity epidemic is enormous, and it's a massive problem. And it's something that I went through personally 7 years ago, started my weight loss journey, having lost now 180 pounds, if you can absolutely imagine that. But it's been 7 years, though. How did I do it? How did I keep it off? I had to use some tools, and that is what some of these medications are, is a tool, but I don't have to do things like that anymore. I'm now maintaining a lifestyle and use of supplements and, good foods and things to coax my body to stay thin now and stay in shape, not just thin, but just stay healthy and in shape. So if you have the answer, you are going to be a rich man, sir, because we have been looking for the answers a very long time. Please share.
Well, working with you, what we found that it's so important that people start with understanding some of the diet principles. There's certain things that we eat and certain things that we do to our body that got us in trouble in the first place. So you have to check that off the list. So we go through a pretty extensive education of people on some of the basics of nutrition that you'd be surprised. Almost 80% of the people that we see just don't understand the different food groups. And they don't understand that there's a couple of things that we have as our food groups, as processed food and fast foods are just something that your body is not going to be able to tolerate as you move forward. So once you start going backwards and going back to what your body needs is real food, not fake food, and understanding what to put in your mouth is so important. And that's what we do, is we get them started. That's step one. Step two is when you start using these new classifications of GLP inhibitors that block those receptors that really improve insulin sensitivity. it's so important to get to the right dose. These drugs usually had come out for people with type 2 diabetes to reduce their hemoglobin A1C ratings and be able to get their insulin levels, to be able to utilize the insulin your body has. So the dosage that are used are very high. To be able to use them for weight loss is a whole different dosing regimen. So, and what most people do is they start out too high and they get side effects. And sometimes they end up in the ER with gallstones. So it's important to work with a practitioner like yourself to be able to give people the right dose. And you know what's even scarier is when you're working with a team, a group that be able to get to the right dose. Sometimes they say, well, I'm not losing anything. So you know what they do? Double up on the dose. And they take twice as much because they want to lose weight faster. And this is where we get into trouble. We get tremendous side effects of vomiting and gallstones and diarrhea. It's just a mess. So, and then unfortunately, people say, I can't tolerate it all the time. Some simple things, apple cider vinegar, and there's a lot of tips, MCT oil, that are very helpful to be able to metabolize those fats which we use. So, this is really important you go on this journey. Let's reverse that huge ship that you've been working on for 20 years to gain all that weight, and just be a little bit patient. And guess what? You will definitely improve your health long term.
Yeah, and don't you find that a lot of these programs, though, semaglutide is the most popular one right now. It seems like everybody is finding a good source for it. But do you find that there are a lot of programs where a practitioner is not involved? There's no health coaching whatsoever. It's just a prescription, and they kind of leave people to their own devices. And patients don't really know how to use it appropriately and titrate up. They don't know what to expect, those expectations, that they're just going to start immediately losing weight, and they start, self-dosing, going up on their own dosages or whatnot. That's where I find the lack of coaching and the lack of support, which is something I refuse to do. I spend time with my patients after hours, my own time, coaching, patients from 5 till 10 o'clock at night, sometimes several days a week, on my own time, because I find it so important. I think the coaching is the difference. Maybe the GLP helps a lot with appetite. It's a tool. Right. Somehow they have to learn how to eat right and live right, and need to be coached through that.
Exactly. And there's also another factor is the rest of the body. What is going on with the rest of the body? If they're mourning cortisol levels, okay, this is important. What is the health of their adrenal response is off the chart. Well, that's the reason why they're gaining weight, and that's the reason why they're not sleeping. You've got to correct that as well, because there's no way that your body can be in its normal rhythm if it thinks that it's fighting lions and tigers every morning at 5 a.m. So, you have to do a balanced approach to the whole body. And this takes a skilled practitioner, and this is the reason why all these systems have failed. However, we've seen this over and over and over again, that we have clinics set up, we have online services that people just want the drug, and they want the drug for a small amount of money, and they send them the drug, and that's it. And it's not going to change, unfortunately. There's nothing illegal about it. However, it's the patients suffer for it. And it's just really a shame. That's why we're doing this. We're doing this as a public service commentary to get people to realize there's a better way of doing it. You need to have a team to be able to, that's trained to do this. It's hard work. Like you said, you have to be able to fine tune each one individually. So that's what takes some effort. But guess what? We're finding that people's the risk for cardiovascular disease is dropping significantly. Their stroke risk is dropping, and their cancer risk is dropping. So take a little bit of investment in your health. Give yourself, I say, 1 to 2 months. and you'll be able to make some huge investments in your health for the rest of your life.
Absolutely. Stop looking for the quick fixes. Stop looking for medications to do it for you. Stop looking for a reason to be able to eat and, behave any way that you want to. Those are things ultimately, no matter what weight loss program you choose or tool that you use, ultimately, you have got to drop the quick fixes and the lack of lifestyle changes. That is something I did I spent 13 years obese, overweight to obese. And I did my back and forth and keto diets or, medications from docs or, whatever, just back and forth, gain, lose. And finally discovered that I'm just going to have to divorce that lifestyle and start to live a better way. Now I don't crave the things that I used to crave. I don't want birthday cake anymore. I don't want ice cream anymore. Those things. In fact, this weekend, someone gave me a donut. I had a donut, the first one I've had probably 6 months. I was so sick. I couldn't even go to bed. I just laid and moaned. It was just terrible because my body is different. And that's been 7 years of changes. It's taken a very long time. People have got to be patient.
They do. So we got to start them out with going through the schedule, training them what to eat, and to be able to, you're going to eat a lot less food when you go on this program. So it's really important that you don't choose donuts and breakfast foods as what those calories are, because they don't have the right nutrients that you need to build muscle. Okay. And here's the thing that we found out. Jim LaValle did a seminar last week. And, there's one thing that we're hearing over and over again. Well, they're just going to gain it all back because they're losing muscle. Okay. Well, that's true. But you also lose the same amount of muscle with a restricted calorie diet. So you do a 1,200 calorie diet, you will lose muscle. If you work on this program by itself, you will lose muscle. If you did the HCG diet, you'd lose muscle. The phentermine, the same way. So it's so important that that's your energy you burn. Your resting burn rate has to increase. So what you do is important is that you put that limited muscle, you have to have the right amount of dosage so that you don't lose the muscle. And then you do the strength training, or you'll be able to get some of that movement in there to keep that muscle tone going. So all the above, that's complicated. It's not, it's simple. It's something that you have to have a checklist to go through. So please don't take the shortcut, because we hate to see what happened years ago is everybody lost 20 pounds and they put on 30. Exactly. And set your clock. When this happens a year from now, everybody's going to break out all those clothes that are 2X and 3X. And here we go again.
Exactly. And then make it worse. Once you've lost the muscle, you slow your metabolism down even further. So, with the GLPs, they have been able to, stymie the appetite enough for people not to want to eat the bad stuff. But I tell my patients, you have to have enough protein and you have to have enough calories. And I really shock them when I tell them, 1,600, 1,800 calories a day, and, 40% of that at least in protein and 20% in carb, and good carbs though. And that really shocks people. I had one lady who said she felt weak and was losing weight, but just felt terrible. What could she do to change things? I said, well, how many calories are you getting a day? She said 800 calories. I said, sweetheart, that is the HCG diet. That is not what we're doing here. I need you to eat double that. Let's eat about 16 to 1,800 calories. I thought I was going to lose her right there. She just couldn't believe it. I said, absolutely. And that's what we try to do, is get you away from the bad foods, but teach you the building blocks of eating well. Build up your muscle, do your strength training. The other thing people get hung up on too is the number on the scale. So the number on the scale doesn't necessarily mean, what you think it means. We definitely want you to change your inches and change your sizes, start to look more built, more muscular, and the scale eventually will catch up. if you're not dropping pounds massively all of a sudden, I don't want you to drop 20 pounds in a couple of weeks. That means you're losing muscle and definitely water. So we want you to learn all of these tips and techniques and eating right and losing weight the right way. So that's how we can do it. So how can people get in touch with us about losing weight the right way and get their hands on some of these new tools that are out?
One of the things that we put together is the Laval Performance Health Center, Laval, L-A-V-A-L-L-E Performance. And that phone number is 512-219-0782. And we're work together with PD Labs Pharmacy to be able to put together some of the other programs we need. So you can check out our website is pdlabsrx.com, or give us a call. That phone number is 512-219-0782. And we can help you through the journey to get you on a better lifestyle and get an appointment with you and your team. So, we work together as a partnership. And that's what's important here, because this is simple medicine, but sometimes it's complicated because guess what? We're not having commercials 3 times an hour explaining the other story. And that's what we want to be able to do today.
Absolutely. And the truth about it all. So Jim Laval was very instrumental in my weight loss journey. I have listened to Jim speak and talk, and I've read all of his information and worked with him now the last couple of years. But 16 years I've followed Jim, and he really helped me put together the idea of what weight loss is all about. So please contact Laval Performance Health Center. All that information you can find through my website, drpbetterlife.com. And I also work through with PD Labs and Jim through my own site. So you can go to start now at betterlifeweightloss.com. And that email comes straight to me. I answer all my own emails. I sit with all my patients and I give all of the instructions and information and handouts and everything. So start now at betterlifeweightloss.com. And those are 2 great sources that you can go to start your weight loss journey, because it is a journey. It is a process. It is not an instantaneous trip. So we are going to take a short break and come back on the other side, talk a little bit more about weight loss and these tools, and see you in just a minute.
Hi, this is Ray Solano with your Healthy Choices Minute, sponsored by Prescription Dispensing Labs. New research has concluded that implementing dietary changes could prevent gut inflammatory processes involved in some chronic diseases. Modulation of your gut microbes through diets enriched with vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and a higher intake of plant over animal foods has a potential to prevent intestinal inflammatory conditions at the core of many chronic diseases. In short, the foods we eat in our dietary patterns have a major influence on our immune system that can cause many conditions we are suffering from today. Solution: try our OptiMeal shake. Our team has developed the best tasting, healthiest shake you've ever experienced to control blood sugar and to improve your gut. Start your day today with a healthy choice. Call us today at 888-909-0110 for a free sample of the OptiMeal shake. 888-909-0110. Remember, you have a choice in healthcare.
Welcome back, everybody. I am Dr. Mariane Pinkston. This is the Better Life with Dr. Pinkston, talking to Ray Solano with PD Labs up in Cedar Park, Texas, and the Laval Performance Health Center. So we've been talking a little bit about tools for weight loss and eating patterns, and it's a process. And we've talked about a lot of things. When, patients talk to me about some of the things that are most important about losing weight, it's not really about the tool that you're using so much as ensuring that you control your stress and get good sleep. And so I can tell you from firsthand that was probably the biggest instrument in my weight loss journey. Going through a divorce and lots of, financial upheaval and whatnot, weight loss was slow. Once things, smoothed out a little bit, started sleeping a lot better, got my stress under control. That's when my, weight loss was exponential. So people don't sleep and don't control their stress, is there a way for people to manage this that would help them begin to sleep a little better and control that stress?
We come up with some unique formulas that really work. They don't require a prescription, but they really slow down that brain so that it starts to be able to get its normal rhythm for melatonin levels normalized, to be able to get that REM sleep, to be able to get your body recycle, gets the trash out when it sleeps. But if you're only doing 2 or 3 hours a night, or you have to rely on medication to do it, guess what? You're not taking the needed sleep that you need. So we have a program that's very simple, that to be able to start the process to get you to sleep properly. And that's changing that pattern of the cortisol response, because that's the first step to be able to do it. That's why people say sometimes they go on vacation and they eat all they want, but they never gain a pound. It's because their stress levels were down. So everybody just breathe, let it go, and let us give you some steps up. That phone number is 512-219-0782. We've got a special that we do for 30 minutes. You can, for a small fee, that we can give you some tips with a short consultation to be able to make a difference in everybody's life. So I think that's step 512-219-0782. Look, ask for the mini questionnaire program.
Absolutely. And so you also brought up something kind of over the break that's very important. We are in the throes of getting school started and, going into fall. Hopefully it'll cool off. Maybe people can increase their activity a little bit more, but there's a countdown to something very important that destroys people for several months. And what is that countdown?
The countdown is 41 days to October 1st. In October, it starts what I call it the Super Bowl of sugar starts in October. And everybody get ready. You will gain 5 pounds between October and February. So you know what? Start now. Do something. Just do something one step forward because it's going to start one more time again.
It is. Once you hit Halloween, then Thanksgiving, then Christmas, then New Year's, then, Valentine's Day. And then you got to include Easter in that, a bunch of chocolate and Easter eggs and peeps and things through all the way through Easter. So, yeah, we
do something. Make that phone call. And I think what we do is we can do a lot in 40 days.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you get some control on board. So you can also go to drpbetterlife.com. You can find all of our previous shows. Ray and I have done several of them for almost 2 years now, and definitely find information on PD Labs and the Laval Performance Health Center and Metabolic Code, all of those wonderful places to go for health. But personalized health this is something that we can make a menu and recipe just for you and spend some time, listen to the obstacles that you're facing. And this is the best place for you to hit. So please contact us there. So Ray, as we kind of close down on the last few minutes here, any final words on, weight loss, sleep, supplements, things actually matter?
Well, I think it's people to realize that it doesn't cost a lot of money. Some of the things that we talked about are less than 2 cups of that expensive Starbucks coffee a month. So I think it's important. Just make that phone call. And guess what? We won't charge you for a short consultation, just to be able to give you some hope. That's what we want to do for people. Give you a little bit of hope so we can all make it through the rest of this year.
And on that note, too, with pricing, the weight loss is not always an inexpensive road. It is, but neither is gaining weight and being unhealthy. In fact, it is very. If you think about, sit down and add up what you spend on things that you should not be spending your money on, things that you should not be ingesting and taking, all the quick fix programs that you have tried to, pour your money into. If you add up all that and then sit down and look at what it takes to turn your life around and be healthy and what you save in the future as far as, getting on the right path to health, you would be amazed. It really isn't as expensive as you. So definitely want to make sure that people understand that. The other point I would love to drive home too is that, patients say, well, I eat okay. I eat well. So, really don't eat well. And that's because of all the myths and things that, Google and the internet and, the industry. I always say that the same industry that is trying to save us is the industry that's trying to kill us. So, all those amounts of misinformation, we can definitely re-educate you on eating and what's right. And then they say, well, I need to start an exercise program. This is true. And exercise is very important, but you cannot out-exercise. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet. You absolutely have to get your lifestyle into practice. That's another thing that we try to set for patients is good eating habits and ways that you don't have to feel like you're starving, that you are, keeping yourself from enjoying foods. And so definitely want to straighten out those couple of myths. So please visit pdlabsrx.com, and you can find information on the Laval Performance Health Center. Also, you can find lots of information on Ray and his podcast and tons of supplements and protein shakes. I mean, there's so much information on your website, pdlabsrx.com. You can also go to drpbetterlife.com, find all of our previous shows and more information there as well. Any last thoughts, Ray?
Oh, that's it. We're looking forward to some interesting and great podcasts coming up.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Well, Ray, thank you. I hope you have a great week. I hope everybody, you have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time.